Hello and welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation with me, your host, Owen James, the channel that brings you your team every single day. Right, we're going to talk about missing links. We're going to talk about how Rangers can go from being pretty poor to actually sorting themselves out, actually being a threat for the rest of the season. Now, obviously, the big issue, it's a little issue, tiny issue, is the fact we haven't got any money at this moment in time. Well, allegedly. Let's just call it allegedly. Allegedly, we haven't got any money at this point in time. And Philippe Clement, may want to strengthen his team in January. He may want to, bring in some extra players, bring in some extra numbers. But realistically, I think we're looking at loans, maybe some freebies, maybe even loans with options to buy or even obligations to buy. Depends obviously on the financial situation the club finds itself in. Now, I would say that Rangers have what I would say has been three missing links from this team. Three players that could perhaps make a difference to this team going forward. Now, look, I know that you may argue, well, actually, I mean, there's probably about 10 or 11 missing links, and we could probably do with a lot more players than we've got now. But look, with the financial situation as it is, with the fact that even if you get players in on loan or players on frees, you're still going to pay signing on fees, wages, agent fees, etc., etc. So there is that on cost with any signing. Now, I would say that, if you look at Rangers at this moment in time, we're kind of missing, for me, three people, three players, three key players that we're missing. One is a player that's already at the club. So, I think that's kind of sorted to some degree. Now, that is obviously Oscar Cortez. Oscar Cortez, very highly rated, very highly thought of at the club. Really good winger. Can play left side, can play right side, can drift in, can drift out. He's quick, skillful, direct. In the games that he has played so far, which is limited, he's looked threatening. He's looked, really good quality. Got his goal as well last season against Hearts. It looks a very good football. It looks a very talented football. Now, I know there's been a lot of concerns over Oscar Cortez, and his injuries have not been great since he arrived at Rangers. He seems to have missed an awful lot of time. Obviously, there's been some questions asked over, his suitability for Rangers and the fact that, let's face it, with his injury record as it is, should this be a player that we've got this obligation to buy on? So we're kind of stuck into this deal. And yes, before anyone asks, it is kind of a done deal. It's not going to happen. We can't suddenly get out of it. So, Cortez is here to stay for now. Now, I would argue that Cortez gives a bit of freedom to Nadim Bayrami. Now, one of the players that, what I'm working on basis of here, ladies and gentlemen, is presuming that Philippe Clement is going to stick to 4-2-3-1. He's not going to change from 4-2-3-1. He's going to keep that formation. It seems to be the formation he loves. Whether it works or not, hey, we can debate that another day. He's talked as well about the fact that he is he sees his formation as the best way forward. He doesn't want to change the formation, which he mentioned in recent times. So look, we are going to pretty much be stuck with this 4-2-3-1. But at this moment in time, at the club at the moment, we don't really have a left winger. Yes, Oscar Cortez is on the books, but Oscar is currently on his way back from injury. Nadim Bayrami is fitting in out there at this point in time. But, with Nadim Bayrami, you kind of look at Nadim and you see a 10. That's what he was bought for. That's why he was brought into the club. That's why he paid over £4 million for the player, to use him as a number 10. Now, at the moment, he's having to play on the left wing. Now, I know that he does that sometimes for his country, but, if you look at where he's been most effective in Serie A during his time there, it was as a 10. Now, Tom Lawrence is, someone who, when he's fit, has played a lot of that role, but to me, doesn't look great in that role. Although I do, get slightly concerned when I hear Philippe Clement's response when he said the other day that we kind of missed the defending of Tom Lawrence, which kind of begs the question, what's he in the team for? Is it to defend or actually to do what a 10 does and actually attack? So, I would argue that having Bayrami in as a 10 really does sort of answer a lot of those creativity problems, answer a lot of those issues around being a bit more clinical around the target. Now, the two other positions that I would really say are major weaknesses at this moment in time is number 6 and number 9. So a 6 to sit in front of the back four and a 9 to score the goals. We'll get to the 9 in a minute. But let's start with the six. Now, I know what a lot of you are saying. Well, Connor Barron's played six. Nicholas Raskin's doing well as a six. But I'll be honest with you, neither of them really are what I would call a traditional out-and-out six. Neither of them are the natural six, the six who sits at the base of the midfield, who is the metronome, who is the guy who pulls teams in low blocks out of position, plays a little pass, opens up an attack. That's what we kind of miss in domestic football. We miss, having someone who can sit, who can pick the ball up, can, bring it, can bring it a little bit forward, can use a little pass here and there, can use a way of kind of trying to break down the opposition. That's what he's there for. The number six position, as Rodri's kind of played it for Manchester City, has really kind of increased in importance. He's kind of become the quarterback, the conductor of the orchestra. And Rangers don't really have a natural six. And if you look at, the way that Clement talked about this when he was asked about this recently, I think about 2 months ago, he talked about the fact that, Raskin can play there, that Barron can play there, that Dio can play there. There's a number of players who can play there. But, they don't play it as a traditional six. They play it in a different way, and they have to bring their own style and their own adaptation of that position to the party. But I would say that, that having someone like, who is a natural six, someone who can actually play that role properly, will be a huge boost to Rangers. You could sit Barron in but alongside of him. And to be fair, Barron's looked more effective when he's been going forward. Nicholas Raskin can come in as an 8, which is perhaps more his natural position. And that gives a bit more freedom there. So I do think that a 6 is something we do need to look at. A 6 is definitely something we need to address, and a player we definitely need to bring in. Now, we were obviously linked with Kenny McLean in the summer. That kind of fell through. Look, Bailey Rice is a possible, so we don't have to actually pay money or sign anyone. We just bring him up from the youth team. He's someone who has been a 6 for the first team, did it under Michael Beale. Is very highly thought of. So, why not him? Play him alongside Connor Barron, give Barron a bit more license to get forward, Bayrami in the 10 role. And for me there, you've got a very effective triumvirate there, and a 3 that can certainly match up to Celtic's midfield of Hatate, McGregor and Engels. Now, the other position, obviously, that really is in need is a striker. We've got Danilo, who is injury prone, on his way back from injury. Hamza, who looks a little lost. Cyril Dessers, who is just plain awful. I would say in January we need to go and get ourselves a striker, a 4th striker. Now, I know what the clubs thought at the start of the year. This ridiculously ludicrous argument that we've got 3 players, so that'll be enough. I mean, it's not enough, is it? You need at least 4 options, and you need someone who is a clinical goal scorer, someone who is a clinical finisher, someone who's going to put the ball in the back of the net on a regular basis, something we don't have at this moment in time. Obviously, with Danilo missing a great deal of games, Hamza not been ready yet, and Cyril Dessers just been absolute dog meat, absolute shite. So I think a striker has to be high on the list of priorities. Someone who can hold the ball up, someone who can bring others into play, and someone who can obviously stay on side and score goals. All these elements are things that Dessers can't do. He can't stay on side. He can't bring others into play. He's not fast. He's just genuinely not a good player. So for me, I would like to see a number 9 brought in. Someone who's going to score on a regular basis, put the ball in the back of the net. Now, I get that strikers that score on a regular basis ain't cheap. They're just not cheap, okay? Omar Mamouche has been linked. I think he would be a good buy. There is options out there, and cheaper options than perhaps you'd have to pay, for some of the top Dutch stars, top French stars, Spanish stars, etc., etc. Some of those people from the top 5 leagues who, realistically, Rangers are not going to get. So, for me, I think still a number 9 is a position we are badly missing. So, look, I think we're missing Cortez on the left. I think he would bring a bit more balance to the team with Cheney on the right. And the fact that, both of them can play kind of on either wing, you could have some sort of fluidity there where Cheney goes left and Cortez goes right, and really starts to, try and open it up a little bit and do something a little bit different, and obviously give Clement a few more options. I also think, that having that 6 at the base of the midfield would make a massive, massive difference for this club. Guys, let me know what you think. Let me know your thoughts on this. Let me know what you think. I honestly believe that if we go and get a 6 and a 9 in this January transfer window, it could make a huge difference to the rest of the season. Without a 6 and a 9, who knows? Who knows? Well, thank you for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation, guys. As always, if you can drop a share on the video, drop a like. smash that subscribe button, share away, comment, all that good stuff to help the channel to keep on growing. Well, thank you for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation, guys. We'll be back to speak to you very soon here on the channel. And always remember, never forget, we are the people.